going to keep this thing going with another special guest. Up until this point, we've had some empowering stories shared with us, and we're grateful to have this platform where we can share with all of you.
I'm really excited. I know, guys, I say this all the time, I'm excited, but I'm really excited about this guest in particular because she's someone close to me. And in the time that we've really gotten to know each other, I've truly been inspired. So I'm excited for the rest of the world to hear her story and get inspired as well. So without further ado, Lakers Nation reporter, Denise Jones.
Hey, ladies, thanks for having me. And you guys are both very inspirations. Nicole, we're just meeting, but I'm sure you got a whole story, girl. I'm ready to hear it.
So we like to open up the interviews with, as everyone knows, my favorite part, which is the icebreaker. So Nicole's going to be my timer, and we're going to do a 60-second challenge. I'm going to give you 3 topics, name as many as you can. So Nicole, tell me when you're ready. Denise, tell me when you're ready, and we'll jump right into it.
I'm ready.
I'm ready too.
Okay, name as many colors as you can.
Red, blue, yellow, green, brown. Is clear a color? Did I say white, gold, silver, mauve, forest green, taupe, burgundy? That's all I got.
Okay, name as many female artists, music artists.
Beyonce, Alicia Keys, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, because I just watched her whole thingy. Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. I guess that's my break. I know way more, but it's a stump of a question.
Okay. Name as many clothing brands that come to mind.
Nike, Adidas, Puma, Reebok, Converse, Gucci.
Well, you did a great job, Denise. Okay, so let's get into it. Denise, I was going through your bio. I actually learned a lot of things that I didn't know about you. So I'm excited to kind of dive deeper into that. A couple of things that I learned. You've experienced, challenges growing up in Compton, limited resources. And I think I even read like you had one car and your dad was responsible for taking you to school, your mom to work, him to work after. So that it definitely possessed certain things that you experienced that may have impacted you. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about how those particular experiences shaped your upbringing and who you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because I grew up with my mom's side, right? And we've talked about this on a sidebar, Crystal, where like I didn't grow up with my biological dad. I grew up with my stepdad, my half brothers, but we are so close. Also close in age, which helps. But yeah, so growing up, we went to a school that was 4 cities away, which sounds kind of crazy to hear now, but as a kid, it just felt normal. It just felt like, oh, okay, we're doing this. Until you start talking to your friends and everyone's like, oh, like, where do you live? And it's like, I can't really say just yet, but it was a strange experience, but a really wonderful experience because my brothers were my best friends. Like my parents were my best friends. I was really sheltered as a kid, but my parents were teen parents. So they were like the cool mom and dad, the ones that would talk to us and be cute on a human level, not like talk down to us, but like explain like profanity, explain drugs, explain like sexuality, like in a way that was just easy.
You mentioned how you and your family are close. And so your brothers being your best friends, I'm sure that is a direct correlation as to why you're so competitive.
Insanely.
And so with that, you juggling school and sports and doing all of those things, I guess, how did you balance those things and still stay involved in school as much as you were and still like as driven as you were when it came to athletics?
I just had this conversation with my boyfriend. I think I'm the oldest in my family, like from my brothers. I'm the oldest. So I think there's a level of responsibility that the oldest naturally carries. Like, you're the one that's setting the bar with everything. The whole balancing thing was something that I had to figure out quickly. And I think that for me, what really helped when it came to sports, student government, getting to know myself and evolving through these stages, really just my friends. Like my friends played a big role in shaping that experience. My teammates were in my classes. My teammates were the ones who I was there with when I first got my job. My brothers in many situations were my teammates because we were in co-ed sports. So the family aspect even bled into that.
And Nicole, I know you can relate because you are very, very close with your family, and I don't know how you juggle and balance and wake up at 4 a.m. and stay up until past 10 o'clock and like do it all. I mean, like, what advice can you share and how you balance things?
You have to prioritize your time constantly. And really, it's knowing when to cut something off or take a break and shift gears. And it's really hard to do because sometimes I'm like on a roll with something or I'm like into something and I have to stop and completely go in a different direction. But you just have to be okay doing that and make sure that you're keeping everything aligned. I am a very big on family and spending time with my kids, with my brothers, my sisters, my mom. I'm like the person that wants to do that all the time and don't have a lot of time. But I think that it's very important to keep that balance. And if it's not family, it's whatever it is for you or someone else, to just make sure that you're balancing out your workload and taking a break from it, because it allows you to like reset and refresh.
I think that's the part that's important is knowing when to rest, because I personally experience burnout. I feel like more than like the average person. And it's because I know like I exert so much at whatever task I'm doing in like a short period of time that sometimes I don't even realize that I'm overwhelming myself. So Nicole, you've been instrumental in like take a breather, calm down, revisit it. Like, and I'm just like,
when I start spinning my wheels, I know that I like need to stop. Because
right.
when your productivity is being affected and you're just trying to push yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice.
What I wish I would have learned earlier was just meditating. That has been, I swear, like the biggest game changer for me. That moment when you settle, I swear it's like, is this the biggest game changer? You know what you need to do. You know what comes after it. You know in your mind, like everything that's going to get done will get done in due time.
Right. It's the clarity for me. And that's what I think like Nicole is saying. Like when you just take that moment, if you're not thinking straight and you're just like going a million miles an hour, like you're not going to be productive. You're not going to be effective at what you're doing. You need that clarity, that moment, that meditation, whatever that meditation is for you. And Denise, I look at you and I'm always like on the sidelines, like clapping, because you are involved in so many things, you know, outside of even Laker Nation. You know, you have full projects that you're consistently working on. So can you kind of share a little bit about your professional journey with us and how you landed to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought I was going to be in radio. I thought that was like my ceiling. I grew up in LA. I grew up with Big Boy in the morning, Liz Hernandez, Kool-Aid in the afternoon. I was just like, yo, they have the most awesome jobs. I ended up getting a job at KJLH Radio, which if you're familiar, just a great soul radio. They have a great gospel session. I didn't grow up with gospel. I knew like the music and the culture. And I felt like, man, for whatever reason, like God, I'm spiritual. So I was like, God put me here for a reason. Like I'm about to get so connected to my roots right now. I did that for like a year. I was still applying to Power. I was still applying to Kiss FM. I was still applying to like every hip hop radio station. I finally heard back from Power and they gave me their overnight internship. So I was going to school, working at the bank, and then doing radio at night. And I thought it was so much fun. I went all the way up to being like the youngest producer for overnight radio. And I was doing radio for about 3-4 years. It was fantastic. It was so much fun, but I realized just how short that ceiling was for me. For everyone, their journey is so different. So if you make it in radio and you stay there for years, like I commend you. It is just, it's not an easy thing. I just felt like my journey, there was more to it. And I always had sports with me. It would be the best conversation starter because you can always talk about sports, especially in environments like that, in these male dominated industries. You don't want to be, or at least myself, I didn't want to be this timid, quiet, girly girl. Like I, in my head, had enough credit. I was playing co-ed sports at this time. I could carry a conversation with anything around basketball, soccer, football, baseball. So I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna just use this as a talking point. I ended up getting a few opportunities with Revolt, a few opportunities with the Fumble, a few opportunities with the Young Turks, and it was amazing. And then I finally landed. My dream team is the Lakers. I love basketball. It's the reason that I played it. It's the reason that I idolize a lot of these guys and women too. It was such a dream and such a full circle moment to land an opportunity with Lakers Nation because they also work with the Lakers and Spectrum. But it wasn't, I say this all to say, it wasn't a traditional journey. I didn't look at sports and be like, this is my end all be all. No, I was in government and then moved to radio and entertainment, pop culture, and then made my way into sports.
I admire it though, because for, like you said, for most people, you have a traditional route of this is how I'm going to go it. And it's like, it just goes boom, boom, boom. But one thing that I feel like we've learned in speaking to these women over the course of the last couple of weeks is that consistently they've all tried different things, but have stayed true to their passion points. And that's what ultimately has kind of taken them into finding like their home of what they want to do. And I think that it goes back to Nicole, like what we were saying of like, just be yourself, because that ultimately will lead you in the direction that you need to go to. If you're trying to be like the next reporter that you just saw, or if you're trying to be like so-and-so that you see on TV, like their path is not your path. So it's important to remain true to the core, to your essence. That is the one thing that I know that you have always done. And I know that's the one thing, Nicole, you've always reminded everyone, at least that I've been around, is like, only you can be you.
I think that's the best way to sum it up, is just being true to yourself. And what you were being true to yourself when you wanted to pursue government, and you were being true to yourself when you wanted to be on the radio. Sometimes what your calling is or what you feel fulfills you can change. And it's okay to go in a different direction.
Right.
I agree 100%. I would also even add that you've been training to study multiple subjects from like your beginning in education. Like you can do, and not to say as adults, I do like 4 or 5 different things, but like you're taking 5, 6, 7 different classes in school. How we were able to juggle that then, I have no idea. But it's important to know that you have that grit to pursue other things. If your 9 to 5 is like, you've been there for 5, 6, 7, 10 years, by all means, if that's what you feel you're meant to do, then do that. But if you want to pursue something different, you have the time. It's just kind of like what you said, Nicole. It's about prioritizing.
Everybody has the challenge. It's the people who accept the challenge and welcome the challenge that actually learn to tap into that grit, learn that not everything's going to be easy, but I understand that I want to be happy more than I want to be unhappy. So I'm going to welcome the challenge. And, you know, just that little couple minutes of talking about that's inspiring. And so it actually was the perfect segue into the next question of, we all at some point in our lives might look at someone that we admire or that we need guidance from or direction from. So for you, Denise, who has been like some of your role models growing up or even now to this day?
I'd say a lot of my friends are my role models right now, straight up. Like they are just like really inspiring in so many levels, because it's not necessarily of what they do. It's just how much joy they exude in what they do. Like that's the stuff that excites me. I don't care if you're the CFO of some company. If you're not happy, then I'm not looking your way. You don't have the light that I need. But even on a grander scale, I'm a big Laker fan. So someone like Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, someone like Magic Johnson, someone like Elgin Baylor, like I like their stories and their work ethic and how they got to where they got. Their story didn't affect the end vision or their end of whatever their journey was supposed to be. I feel like when you are able to adapt, when you're able to walk in your own organic path in whatever it is that your calling is, and you walk the walk so boldly, that is what fills me up. That's what inspires me.
When people used to ask me that question, I was always like thinking, do I say Oprah? I was thinking of these like women who were at the very, very top of the ceiling, but I never truly felt like it, not inspired is the word, but like it was hard for me to like confidently say that because I didn't know their everyday life. I didn't know really the things that they had to go through for me to say that these are my role models. I've always looked to the people closest to me, my mom, my friends.
For me, it's the energy I get. I get inspired by people's energy. And if there's no connection there, there's nothing that's gonna move me. Yes, I like Beyonce. I've already said that. Michelle Obama, she's it, you know, she's that woman. So of course, but when I talk about my daily inspiration, who I think about, who it's the people that are close to me that I get moved by their drive, by their energy.
The people that we know, we can tap into those people so quickly. If I'm ever in a moment of fear, if I'm ever in like new territory, I can remember something that my cousin did. I can remember something that my mom said. I can remember something that I just saw my friends do. And I'm just like, you know what? Why not? Let me bet on myself. They just did it. Like, let me just try it.
I agree. So overcame challenges, decided that you weren't going to be president, decided you want to go to radio.
Still open, by the way. Okay. I'm young. It's still very possible.
And
You still have time.
landed your dream job with your dream team. I mean, like you've checked all the boxes. So I'm sure there's more to your story that we don't even have the time to tap into. And with that, I just want to know, with everything that you've accomplished and just who you've become today, can you give me 3 adjectives that describe you?
3 adjectives that describe me. I'll keep it simple. I'll say energetic, grateful, and witty.
Okay, so we always close out the interviews with the fill in the blank. It's the blank for me. Answer this however you see fit. What does it for you? What keeps you going? What makes you happy? Gives you joy? It's the blank for me.
We were talking about joy. I said joy earlier. It's a joy for me. Everything that you do, just make sure you are walking in your light. Make sure you are literally light on your feet and you're just walking happy, because this world is very short. That's what this last year taught us. So if you're not doing anything that fulfills you or anything that makes you feel like the shiniest piece of jewelry, then you need to reevaluate that, honey.
My good friend of mine used to say to me, like, of course you're going to have good and bad, and you have to weigh the good and the bad. But when the bad is outweighing the good for too long, it's time to switch it up. It's time to reevaluate. It's like happiness is the bottom line.
Right. And people don't realize that your environment and your circumstances really do, you become them. So it's like, if you're unhappy, some people are like, oh, it's a phase. Oh, it's a phase. But that phase can quickly turn into a year, 2 years, multiple years. Next thing you know, you're just depressed. And so I think it's important to consistently check in with yourself. Am I happy? Am I feeling fulfilled? Am I getting what I need? Am I radiating this light, this energy that I want to come back to me? And I think it's important because, as we've all kind of learned and discovered, is we're all moving a million miles an hour. Life is too short. We're juggling things. We're trying to be successful, whatever that means for each individual person. But it's important to just take that pause and just check in with yourself. So Denise, where can everyone find you on social media?
I'm just, Denise, across all socials.
And if you haven't already, be sure to catch up on all of our amazing talks with these incredible women over the last few weeks on Mayweather Promotions YouTube and Instagram. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I really enjoyed talking with you and getting to know another successful woman.